Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to say how I would describe myself. Like, it isn't really for me to say. I don't want to think about it too much either, because, you know, I just want to do it. Just get it out there. The idea first, definitely. And then the process of how to make it. And the crafting isn't in and of itself everything. It's a vital part of it, because they wouldn't be realised without that. And the level of craftsmanship and the finish and the quality is paramount to me, you know, in terms of how the work is expressed. There's something about something that is handmade and crafted, and something that's taken, you know, hundreds of hours to make, that speaks to people. And you don't have to understand design or craft or art or anything to feel that. This is a maquette for a piece called Walking. And I remember distinctly the moment that I came up with this idea for this piece, which was I was sitting in my kitchen at home on a winter's morning and looking at the bare branches and the light coming through the bare branches of the trees, and that, coupled with the idea of motion, which is an ongoing theme in my work, and the human form, was what inspired this piece. You know, people often ask me, they might look at a piece, like for example, we might be working on a piece we're making for the moment for an exhibition. What's the inspiration? You know, it's a constant evolvement conversation that I have with the work. So something might start like that, but that particular piece has then gone on to feed into many other iterations, even including this piece, which is a table. It's a very small sculptural piece, but like these forms, which are slightly different, are directly inspired by this piece, which was the initial point where I started making those types of forms. So it's ongoing, evolving conversation that I have between me, the material, the forms that I make. Obviously they're all at different levels, but if we could get them standing all on their bottoms with their tops level, we could get them set out exactly as we want them with the perspex on top. Bronze is like a living material, and that is one of the things that I love about it. You know, it's doing its own thing, but then we're controlling it to some extent as well. And it's that sort of push-pull relationship between the material and us all the time. And I suppose the challenge of that, and then getting the end result that we do, is very rewarding. Bronze is hard, but there's a warmth to it. It just looks molten, even though it's not. It's a completely static, cold, hard material. I love the fact that you can work with the patina finishes on it, because it lends itself to that so well. There's something about the way that you work with bronze, and we work with bronze here, which is, from a crafting point of view, historically exactly the same way as would have been literally in the Bronze Age. So every single piece that I make that has any kind of a curved face is hand hammered from raw sheet bronze. When you work with bronze, it's particularly phosphor bronze, it's a very hard material, and over time, as you work it and you hammer it, the molecules tighten and tighten and tighten and becomes harder and harder, and to a point you just can't hammer it anymore. So we will use a process called annealing, which is where we heat it to a super cherry red glowing, and then quenched in water immediately, and it releases all the molecules. It becomes softer, it becomes easier to work. It sounds different when you hammer it. So bronze is like a living material, and that is one of the things that I love about it. I'm a maker, actually. It's not that I'm just, I like to get my hands dirty. I find it immensely satisfying. But I'm always, doing something with my hands, making things with my hands. And a real direct line from the mind to the work that is uninterrupted by any other thing. And especially when I was making the work on my own at the very beginning, there was nothing to stand in the way of that free-flowing from the mind into the work. Like I have said before that, my work is like I draw with bronze and light, and it was literally what I was doing at that point. Most people will say that when they've seen the work in photographs and then they see it in reality, it's a totally different thing. You can feel that. You can feel that off a piece of something that's handmade, as opposed to something that's maybe semi-production line, or even handed over to a foundry, where it's not actually of me, of the studio, made by the hands that are here. Huge amount of work that goes into pieces like this. I mean, there's engineering-wise alone, and it's completely invisible, huge amount of work that goes into a piece like that looks like it's, these little areas where the vessels touch, and, internally there's no visible signs of anything happening, but it's all there. So it's challenging, but I am a problem solver. That is something that I relish, actually. How do I make this happen? How can we make it so that it's invisible, that we can see nothing internally when you look inside the illuminated vessels? So that's something that I enjoy. There's a lot of hidden elements that go into the work that make them seem so simple, but they're not.